Hey Pre-Cal, welcome to Conics. Today we'll be presenting to you The Circle by Ta, Will, Santa, and Karen.
General form ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. This is the general form. The general form of the circle a will equal to c and a cannot be 0. In most cases, b will be equal to 0, which means you can just cut bxy out. Center radius or standard form. Just like its name, it tells us the center and the radius of the circle. The formula is x minus h everything square plus y minus k everything square equal r square. H is the x locus point, k is the y locus point, and r is the radius.
Proof number 1 of theory A equal to C, but A cannot equal to 0. How does A equal to C turns out to be a circle? Well, let's look at this example. 4x squared plus 4y squared equal to 10. Well, in this case, A is indeed equal to C. Now let's see what will happen if we divide everything by 4. What you left with is x squared plus y squared equal to 10 divided by 4, which is 2.5. Now this looks very similar. It is the equation of circle radius, or a standard form of a circle. Well, if you graph this into any calculator, you will get a circle graph, just like the picture in the right. Proof number 2. Now, this is a harder question. 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 16x minus 24y plus 51 equal to 0. Now you can see that this is a circle for sure based on general form because 4 and 4 is equal. Now let's try to make it a circle radius or standard form of a circle. So step 1, we put together the common factor and move 51 to the other side of the equation. Step 2, we factor out the greatest common factor, and in this case is 4 for both of them. Next, we do the perfect square, which is negative 4 divided by 2 and square it, which is positive 4. But we can't just add 4 to the equation, because then the equation is going to change. So we have to add another minus 4 to it. And same goes to y. Negative 6 divided by 2 and squared is positive 9. And don't forget to add another minus 9 to it. Next, we know that x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to x minus 2 squared. And y squared minus y 6y plus 9 is equal to y minus 3 squared. And don't forget that there is negative 4 and negative 9 at the back, because now we're going to distribute in the 4. So negative 4 times 4 is equal to negative 16, and negative 9 times 4 is equal to negative 36. Now let's add negative 36 and negative 16 together, which we will get negative 52. And we move negative 52 to the other side, which is 52 minus 51 is equal to 1. Now all we left is this 4 in front of x and y, but we don't want that because the original equation doesn't have the coefficient in front. So how do we do that? So we divide everything by 4, and all we have is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equal to 1 over 4.
So for our real-life comparison, we chose the bicycle wheel. We put this bicycle wheel on a graph and assume that the center of this wheel is at the origin of the graph 0, 0. With that being said, we just need to measure the radius, find out what it is, and then we can find x and y, the x and y variables, by putting it into the center radius equation. So for our interesting fact, we decided to take on the Pythagorean theorem and relate that to the center radius equation. The Pythagorean theorem simply states that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In the center radius equation, we can see that form being taken on in a different format. For the center radius equation, we see that the a squared in the Pythagorean theorem is basically with the variables as so: x minus h squared, which is a squared, plus y minus k squared, which is b squared, and equals to r squared, which is c squared.
Hi guys, so this is like the distance formula which we learned a few years ago, and the distance can be found by the square root of x minus x sub 1 or h square plus y minus y sub 1 or k square. So here the h and the k, the h and the k are the x and y coordinate of the locus point or the center. And so for example, the radius from the locus is 5 and the center point is at the origin. So this means like the center point is at 0, 0, and the radius of the circle is 5. So it's the same everywhere. And so we're able to find the formula of the circle by plugging in to our formula and then just square it to the other side, or there's also this formula. It is the same thing. So this is like an application of the distance formula. The question says find all points 4, y that are 10 units from the point -2, -1. So there's a radius given here, so we plug it in for r, and then we plug in the 2 coordinates given, which is the square root of -2 minus 4 square plus -1 minus y square. And then we do basic algebra, and then we end up with this. Since we're trying to find what the y value is here, we want to square both sides to get rid of the square root on this side, and then we're going to have 100 over here, and then we have like basic quadratic function in terms of y. And so we factor it, and then it seems like we have 0 is equal to y plus 9 multiplied by y minus 7. And so this means that the y value is -9 or 7. So the 2 points that are 10 units away from the point -2, -1 are 4, -9 and